Hey friends, it's Wilk, and before we get started with this week's episode, I want to mention a couple things real quick about a couple affiliates. Affiliates help me keep the show going, and by you using the services of one of our affiliates, I get a little kickback at no extra cost to you. So if you've ever thought about starting a podcast, Buzzsprout is a great place to start. They have some phenomenal tools, and starting a podcast is a lot easier when you've got the right tools. So join over 100,000 other people who've started a podcast with Buzzsprout, and if you click the link to them in our show notes, I'll get a little bit of something for every paid membership. So I would really appreciate that. Helps a lot to support the show. Also, online grocery shopping, it's a big thing right now, especially with the pandemic and the lockdowns and people, being sketchy about going out in the public. If you want to do some grocery shopping at home in a quick, convenient way and have that stuff delivered to your house, check out Instacart. Instacart is a phenomenal way for people to buy groceries online and have them conveniently delivered to their house. So, again, in our show notes, check out one of the banner ads, check out the links. Instacart is a great way to do a little bit of online grocery shopping and have it conveniently delivered to your house. So with that, we're going to dive right into the show. Welcome back, my friends, to the D-Rate the Hate podcast. I am Wilk from wilksworld.com, and today our episode is going to be called Happiness is My Favorite Color. And the reason I've got this topic, or the idea, the idea or how I got the idea for this topic, is the other day I came home from work, and my daughter, I've got a 1-year-old daughter, the absolute light of my life. She has got such an awesome little personality, and she just giggles and makes all these faces, and I can get into that a little bit more later. But she had this shirt on that it was the cutest little shirt, and she just, as I walk in the door, she's got it, got this big smile on her face, and she's giggling, and her shirt says "Happiness is my favorite color," and it really makes. I mean, every day that I come home from work and I see her, and she doesn't walk yet. She just scoots on her little butt. She scoots around. She scoots like crazy. And one of the things I look forward to most all day long when I'm gone is when I get home, and she comes scooting up. As I'm taking off my shoes, coming into the laundry room. She comes scooting up with unbelievable quickness, big old smile on her face, and making the little noises that she makes. And I see her little shirt that day, and it says "Happiness is my favorite color," and it just, I absolutely loved it. So that's why I'm going with this for an episode. It's Christmas week. It's a day before Christmas Eve, 2020, and today's episode is going to be called Happiness is My Favorite Color. Now, there might be some out there that say, but hey, Wilk, happiness isn't a color. Well, of course it's not a color. But you know what? Anything can be your favorite color. Anything can be your favorite anything. I don't care. They're making up rules as they go now in every other part of life, so happiness can be a color as far as I'm concerned, and we're going with it. So, there's nothing quite so precious as seeing a child laugh, seeing a child just with this tremendous smile on their face. And if you think way back into one of the early episodes, I think I'm not even sure, maybe episode 8, I think was Smiles and Bad Moods Are Contagious. Well, I got to tell you what, there's nothing quite so contagious as the smile of a child, and a toddler especially. I mean, my daughter, her little smiles and her laughs and everything are they're just captivating. They do amazing things, and I know I'm not the only parent. I've talked to plenty of parents who say the same thing about about their children, and as we watch them grow, just the excitement that we see in those children, and whether it be the first time they discover. I mean, it can be simple things. The first time they discover their own fingers and how to start controlling their hands and the little motions that they can make with their hands and things like that. I think we need to, as adults, step back and really start to appreciate the little things, just like children do. I think oftentimes we get so captivated by all these things, and I don't even know that captivated is a word. I don't know. That just came to my mind, but we get so consumed. There we go. So consumed by all these things that are going wrong in our life, or all these things that are going wrong in the world, that we really lose sight of the little things. I want to step back a second. I was pretty excited to do this topic today because I love talking about my daughter, and but I want to step back for a second and kind of reset things. It is Christmas week, and like we do every week on the Derate the Hate podcast, I want to ask you, what have you done today to make your life a better life? What have you done today to make the world a better place? I truly believe, and the reason that I continue to do the Derate the Hate podcast is because I believe we are bettering the world one attitude at a time. If what I say and what I do each week reaches one person and makes a difference, that's really worth it to me, and that's my gift. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't know if it's really a gift to anybody, but it's a gift to me because actually doing the Derate the Hate podcast helps me as much as I hope it helps the people listening to us. The reality is a lot of what I talk about on this podcast are life lessons that I've learned, things that I have done to better my life, and wisdom that I've gained through mistakes that I've made, and that's really what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to convey a message to people out there who may be experiencing things that I've experienced in my past that made my life rough, because I'm not going to lie to you, and I've talked about it before in the podcast. A lot of my life was very rough, and now I lead a very good life, a very blessed life. I'm a much happier man than I've ever been in my entire lifetime. So things that I talk about on this podcast are really, truly meant to provide some value to the listeners. Hopefully something that I say helps to better your life in some way, bettering your attitude, because, frankly, getting back to the topic of this episode, like that little shirt on my beautiful little daughter, happiness is my favorite color. You know what? Happy people don't hurt people. Happy people don't hate, and hateful people aren't happy. So, the reality is okay, happiness may not be a color, but you know what? Happiness is my favorite color, especially when I look at it on my daughter, on that little shirt of hers. When I walk in the door in the afternoon, I don't care how bad my day was, how many people that were negative that I've had to deal with. When I walk in at the end of the day and see my beautiful daughter and see that little smile on her face and listen to her giggle and while she's scooting up to the entryway to greet me, or when I get to walk into the kitchen and give my wife a kiss at the end of the day, that happiness, those moments of joy build that happiness within me, and at that point, happiness is not only my favorite color, happiness is my everything, because they are my everything, and that makes for a very, very happy, it makes for a very happy life. There's a lot more, there's a lot more to it than that, but, I gotta tell you, don't get consumed by all those outside things. Just appreciate all the beautiful little things in your life. And I will tell you that like I said, coming from somebody who spent a lot of my life not happy, a lot of my life in bad places, I was never able to truly be happy with anybody else until I became happy as a person without anybody else. And then that's when I truly started to appreciate things. I got married at a very late age. I started a family at a very late age. And a lot of the reasons for that is because I wasn't the person I needed to be, earlier in my life. And these things that I do in the Derate the Hate podcast are these things that I talk about in this podcast are hopefully a gift that I can give to somebody out there. Maybe one person a week, like I said earlier. And if it is, and it makes a difference, then it's every bit worth it to me to do it. Because, like I said, it's a gift for me to do it, because I get to relive a lot of the lessons that I've learned and truly appreciate those lessons that I've learned while talking about it on this podcast. So, this is a holiday week. It's a Christmas week, and I hope everybody out there gets a chance to really look at the small gifts in their life, the small things, the small moments of joy that bring you true happiness, and make happiness your favorite color. Like I said, that shirt, when I walked in that day and I saw that shirt on my daughter, I knew that I had to talk about it, because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful phrase. It's a beautiful saying. And like I said, everybody else in every other realm of life is making up rules nowadays. So who's to say happiness can't be a color, right? You know what? As far as I'm concerned, happiness is my favorite color. So that's going to wrap up the meat and potatoes of this episode. I am now going to talk about a feel-good story I saw earlier this week. As I do every week, I try to bring up a feel-good story, something that most people probably wouldn't have seen because it probably didn't make the national news. And it's something that caught my eye, and I want to bring it and present it to you guys. So this week's feel-good story, Christmas week in 2020, comes out of Galesburg, Illinois. A youngster by the name of Addison, a little 6-year-old girl by the name of Addison, went to her school principal, and what had happened was earlier this year, a classmate of hers and her family lost everything. It lost everything in a house fire. It was a complete loss. They lost pretty much everything that they had. So young Miss Addison decided to go to her school principal and ask, would it be okay if I were to take my allowance money, the money that I've got saved, to buy her classmate, her friend, some Christmas gifts, because her and her family didn't have anything. So young Miss Addison had $50 saved up, and she used that $50 from her allowance, the money that she had saved and been saving. Who knows what she'd been saving for, but what I do know is she used it for, a very, very good cause. And as anybody who's listened to this podcast for very long knows, I love it when ordinary people do extraordinary things, and I absolutely love it when youngsters are doing it and not being prompted to do it, because then it doesn't really count. If they got to be prompted to do it, then they're just being told to do something else, and it's really not worth the effort. When it's a youngster doing something on their own, it's a beautiful thing, and those youngsters need accolades, because quite honestly, when you're doing something out of the goodness of your heart without being prompted to do it, that's when it truly means something extraordinary. And young Miss Addison made an extraordinary effort to use her own money to do a great thing. And in return, I got to tell you, the police department caught wind of this and wanted to recognize the fact that she had done such a beautiful thing, and they in turn worked up some secret Santa deal, and Santa gave young Miss Addison a $100 secret Santa gift. So, you know what? It's funny how things work out that way. Oftentimes, I've seen it so many times in my life, I can't even count the number of times in my life when I've seen people giving of themselves, of their own free will, and they give, and it comes back to them in return in much bigger ways. So have a giving heart. It's Christmas. A lot of people have been on very hard times. The year 2020 has been brutal for so many. If you can, give back and give in any way you can, but always, like I said, always do what you can to make your life a better life, and by making your life a better life, you're going to make the world a better place. So with that, I'm going to say, when you get back out amongst the people, when you're out there, be kind to one another, be grateful for everything that you've got. And remember, it's up to you to make each and every day the day that you want it to be. So from all of us here at Wilkes World, I do want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. And you know what? We thank you very much for all you're doing for our show. And if you get a chance, share our content. Download us wherever you get your shows. Share us on all sorts of social media. Send me a message at wilk@wilkesworld.com. And with that, I'm going to back on out of here. We'll catch you next week.